Ever wonder why most airplanes are like a bride at a wedding always dressed in white? No, they're not trying to make a fashion statement. You know, when you gaze up at the sky, you might just catch a glimpse of a shiny white object soaring through the clouds. No, I'm not talking about a rogue weather balloon or a very lost swan, but rather our skybound chariots, the airplanes. Just like those little black dresses, it seems like airplanes have adopted the "white is the new black" mantra. So, what's the deal with this aerial fashion trend? Well, it's not just a question of aesthetics. There's more to this monochrome mystery than meets the eye. You see, when it comes to aviation, every single detail counts, even the color of the aircraft. It's not like they ran out of colors at the airplane paint shop. In fact, they have a whole rainbow to choose from. But let's imagine for a second that airplanes were painted like a box of crayons exploded on them. It would be quite the sight, wouldn't it? A sky full of vibrant hues would be like a flying art exhibition. But alas, we're stuck with the classic white. You might think it's a bit boring, like watching paint dry, quite literally. But hold on to your seats, folks, because there's a method in this monochrome madness. It's not just about looking sleek and sophisticated like James Bond in a tuxedo. The choice of color plays a significant role in the operation and maintenance of these massive machines. And it's not just about making the aircraft look good for their Instagram selfies. No, the color white has some pretty cool scientific and practical advantages. But I'll need a whole other minute to get into that. So, are the airlines just big fans of minimalism, or is there more to this color choice? Let's skydive into the story. Welcome to Global Travel Venture. So, you slather on sunscreen to protect your skin from the sun, right? Well, airplanes need protection too. And no, we're not talking about SPF 50 or even SPF 100. We're talking about SPF 1000, and that's where our good friend white paint comes into play. Now you might be wondering, how does white paint act as an SPF? Well, think of it this way. Imagine you're out in the sun wearing a black shirt. Pretty soon you're going to feel like a baked potato in a microwave, right? But swap that black shirt for a white one and voila, you're suddenly feeling a whole lot cooler. That's because white reflects sunlight while black absorbs it. It's the same principle with airplanes. When an airplane is cruising at 35,000 feet, it's exposed to more intense sunlight than we are on the ground. If the plane was painted black, it'd absorb all that sunlight and heat up like a hot dog at a 4th of July cookout. But with a coat of white paint, the airplane can reflect most of the sunlight, keeping its temperature down. It's like the airplane has its own built-in sunscreen, but instead of protecting it from sunburn, it's protecting it from overheating. And trust me, an overheated airplane is not something you want to be dealing with mid-flight. It's not like you can just roll down the windows and let in a breeze, right? So, in the same way that you wouldn't go sunbathing without your trusty bottle of SPF, airplanes wouldn't dream of taking to the skies without their coat of white paint. It's their secret weapon against the sun's powerful rays, their invisible sunscreen, their SPF 1000. And there you have it. The next time you see a white airplane soaring through the sky, you'll know it's not just about aesthetics, it's about staying cool, literally. So, white paint is like an airplane's SPF 1000, it's all about staying cool in the sun. You'd think airplanes would want to stand out, not blend in. But when it comes to hiding, they're like chameleons in the sky. Now let's talk about the art of camouflage. Yes, you heard that right. Those massive metal birds aren't just flying around willy-nilly, they're masters of disguise, blending seamlessly into their surroundings. And what's their secret weapon? You guessed it, good old white paint. Picture this, a plane soaring through the sky, surrounded by fluffy white clouds. From the ground you'd be hard-pressed to distinguish between the two. It's like a giant game of Where's Waldo, but with a twist. Instead of looking for a man in a red and white striped shirt, you're searching for a multi-ton aircraft amidst the vast expanse of the sky. But it's not just about playing a cosmic game of hide-and-seek. Reducing visibility also has practical implications, especially when it comes to avoiding potential threats or hazards. And let's not forget, it also gives the pilots a sense of being stealthy sky ninjas, which, let's be honest, is pretty cool. Now, you might be wondering, why do planes need to hide in the first place? Well, it's not like they're up to no good, plotting some grand heist. It's more about blending into the environment, making the plane less of a distraction for ground observers, and more of a harmonious part of the sky. And there you have it, the secret to an airplane's chameleon-like abilities. It's not some high-tech cloaking device or advanced stealth technology. It's just a simple coat of white paint doing its thing, making airplanes masters of disguise. So next time you're gazing up at the sky, squinting to spot a plane amidst the sea of clouds, remember the art of camouflage at work. And if you can't find it, don't worry. It's not because your eyes are playing tricks on you. So if you've ever lost sight of a plane in the sky, now you know why. It's not magic, it's just playing hide and seek. Ever had a sticker shock at the paint store? Imagine painting an entire airplane. Now let's talk about the price tag on painting an airplane. We're not talking about a small canvas here, folks. We're talking about a gigantic metal bird that's about 60 yards long. It's sort of like painting your house, but instead of a cozy 3-bedroom, imagine a mansion with wings. So how much does it cost to dress up an airplane in a new coat of paint? Well, it's a bit like asking how much it costs to dress a movie star for the Oscars. It's not just the price of the paint itself, but the labor, the time, the attention to detail. You wouldn't want a single smudge on that tuxedo, would you? Let's break it down a bit. The paint alone can cost anywhere between $50 to $200 per gallon. Now consider that it takes around 100 to 150 gallons of paint to coat a single airplane. You do the math. That's right, you could buy a small island with that kind of money, but wait, there's more. Before you even get to painting, the plane needs to be stripped of its old paint, which is a labor-intensive and costly process. It's like getting a full-body exfoliation at a fancy spa, but for a plane. And we all know how pricey those spa treatments can be, right? And then there's the labor. Painting an airplane is not a one-man job. It requires a team of skilled painters working around the clock for up to 2 weeks. That's a lot of coffee breaks. When you add it all up, painting an airplane can cost as much as $200,000. That's more than most people's houses are worth. So white paint isn't just practical, it's economical too. It's like finding the cheapest yet most stylish outfit in the store. You know how you feel heavier after a big meal? Well, airplanes feel the same way with paint. Imagine this. You're getting ready for a marathon. You've trained, you've hydrated, and you're in your best running gear. But just before the starting gun goes off, someone hands you a backpack filled with bricks. Not exactly ideal, right? Well, that's what it's like for an airplane every time we slap on a fresh coat of paint. You see, paint may not seem like much, but it adds up. Picture a standard Boeing 747, it's a big bird, right? Now to cover that entire plane, we're talking about over 500 gallons of paint. That's enough paint to fill up a decent-sized hot tub. And all that paint weighs around 1,200 pounds. That's like strapping a grand piano to the plane before takeoff. Now, imagine the impact on fuel efficiency. More weight means more fuel burned. It's like trying to run that marathon with the backpack full of bricks. You're going to need a lot more energy bars. And, in the case of our plane, that translates to thousands of extra gallons of jet fuel over the plane's lifetime. Not exactly pocket change, is it? So what's the solution? Well, we could send our planes into the skies in their birthday suits, bare metal and all. But then, we're back to dealing with sun damage, corrosion, and not to mention, a fleet of shiny, blinding aircraft that would make even the bravest pilot squint. Instead, we opt for a light coat of white paint. It's like the Goldilocks of aviation solutions. Not too heavy, not too light, but just right. It offers protection, aids in cooling, and keeps the weight down. And let's not forget it makes our planes look pretty sleek too. So, when it comes to airplanes, less is definitely more. A light coat of white paint is all it takes to stay in shape. So why are most aircraft painted white? Well, it's not because they're fans of winter or vanilla ice cream. Let's take a quick flight back through our journey today. Remember how we ventured into the realm of invisible sunscreens? It turns out, our winged metal birds don a white coat to reflect sunlight, not to get that perfect summer tan, but to keep cool and avoid the heat damage. Yes, you heard right, airplanes aren't sunbathing enthusiasts. Then we took a detour into the art of camouflage. You'd think with all that sky to blend into, a plane could rock any shade from sunrise pink to midnight blue. But no, they prefer to play hide and seek in the clouds, and the white paint makes them less visible from the ground. They're not trying to win any hide and seek championships, but hey, who doesn't enjoy a good game? Our journey then led us to the cost of colors. You might have thought that airlines are just being frugal, but it's more than just pinching pennies. Different colors have different weights and costs, and sometimes it's just easier to stick with the status quo. It's like opting for a plain bagel instead of that everything bagel, sometimes simple, is just better. And speaking of weight, let's not forget about the literal weight of the matter. A lighter plane means more fuel efficiency and less environmental impact. It's like deciding to carry a backpack versus a suitcase on a hike. Every pound counts. So, there you have it. It's not about looking spiffy or following the latest trends. When it comes to aircraft, it's all about practicality, keeping cool, staying hidden, saving money, and reducing weight. So the next time you see a white airplane, you'll know it's not a fashion statement, it's a science experiment on wings. Until next time, safe travels.